Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
I'm impressed with all the art installations you guys have around town.
What have we done?
All those green highway signs have graffiti all over them. We were remarking that it was quite something. I don't know.
Yeah, we were. I think we were just leaving Trent some clues as to get him down here to the agency. And with that, God, I already ruined the surprise. Welcome back to another edition. A special edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. I'm Sam Littlefield. With me is my co-host,
Roop.
And with us is
Trent Guyer from Grasshopper.
Trent Guyer. He is back. It is. We've never called it this before. It is our third annual. We are so happy to have you officially. Trent's first time in the studio. It's the first time that we're calling this Trent-a-palooza.
Yeah.
That was Roop's idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's.
I like a good festival.
I think of Mitcha-palooza off of old school,
yeah.
But quite not that kind of party. But we're gonna have a fun time later.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
No bumper stickers or anything yet for that?
No, we're working it out. We talked about getting robes for you next year, right? For like the 4-timers or the 5-timers
like
club.
that.
So.
Which that really is. I think there's something there. Trent, you mentioned also maybe some stars of some sort for like football helmets.
Yeah. So you gave me a T-shirt for being on here. I'd like that Captain C with all the gold stars filled in.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
We can do that.
So we're so excited. I mean, this is really we plan this out. We try to get this on the books about 6 months in advance. June, I have an annual reminder to reach out to Trent, and we locked in on this date. It's a great date because we're really close to Christmas.
We're a week from Christmas. How exciting is that?
We're a week from Christmas. I think the festiveness is just in the air. You brought a special guest with you on this trip.
I brought my wife, Kathy.
And it's a pretty cool thing having Kathy here. I've met her before. She could be here right now podcasting with us. She's smarter than us, and she's actually relaxing.
You're not wrong. She's been by here a bunch of times. You know, we'll go by here to go to the lake, or we've been here for swim meets when the kids were little. And I've told her about this place, and you have all met her at some point doing some other projects or whatever, doing some different things. But she's never been in your office, and just to see the energy you guys have here is just really remarkable.
It's fun. We love having her here. We love having Trent here. And the cool thing is, when Trent was here a year ago, this entire side of the office was under construction. So he got to kind of see a glimpse via drywall and bars. But we were loaded up with poinsettias on the other side of the office. It was, I think, Brandon, you did a really nice job given the circumstances. Was it ideal? No, this is ideal today. Before we dive in with Trent, we have a present for you.
Okay.
And we want to do this on air for you. And the president actually isn't here at the table. We need you to stand up, and the president is actually behind you. For those that are listening, we have a big present wrapped. It says, "To Trent from Samta." Samta and the agency. It just happens to be my name. But Trent, you'll see two things. You just kind of pull down the, yep, perfect.
A pen.
One more over here.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to the studio.
Amazing.
we completely repled our own sign with yours.
We took down our Little Talk sign, and for those that are not watching, if you're not watching, we encourage you to watch this video. We've got a Grasshopper lit up sign here for Trent, and Trent, that's not for here. That's actually going home with you, and that's for your office.
I think that is wonderful. I've got a place that I would love to put that. Thank you very much.
I figured. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
I had nothing to do with that. That was Roop and Brandon's idea.
Oh,
so I want to give
that's
them
even cooler.
I want to give them
then
full
I shouldn't.
credit.
I don't know if I should shake your hand.
I take back that handshake.
Well,
or give it to him first.
We did use his credit card.
Oh,
so.
okay. So it's
even.
even.
Chelsea's credit card.
Oh,
or my
yes.
credit
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
That's right. You finally gave her one.
Card? Never. Chelsea, Chelsea, you're not listening. But Chelsea's dad's listening. This was on my credit card, John.
Yeah, you got to be careful because once you open that door, it just the flood.
The flood. That's exactly right.
Comes and it never ends.
I thought that was pretty cool, and that.
Yeah, thank you.
I
like that. That is really neat.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we've got some great trends to talk through today. And Claudia, we actually have 2 trends.
What?
Yeah, we got 2.
Okay, I guess.
How do you feel about that?
Amazing. I get to hit it twice.
They mesh nicely together.
Okay. Do I get to do the belding twice?
I think
Yeah.
I think
Oh my
you do.
gosh,
You want to lead
that's
off with one right now?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is really cool, and just again a special podcast here because we do a lot of things. Reimagination is our brand purpose here at the agency, and we get to work with a lot of great clients. And there's a few clients, and one in particular that is here with us today, that are always reimagining things. And one big topic that we have discussed over the last year is artificial intelligence. As we were prepping for the script over the last couple of weeks, I said it's really important for Trent to talk about AI in a B2B marketing world because we talk about it on the podcast. But Trent is doing all sorts of things every day to create efficiencies in your daily life for your company. And it's really cool because you're going to get some practical real world uses. The nice thing for you listeners today is Roop and I actually kind of more facilitate this, and you get to hear Trent's voice because he's only here once a year. So Trent, we want you to walk through our listeners. Some of them are clients, some of them are potential clients, some of them are just people that enjoy digital marketing. But walk us through your day and how your world has changed over the last year through AI.
Well, and we talked about this last year. AI goes so many different ways. The way that I have been using it in the last year, 2024, has been to build, maybe it's a formula we use Google Sheets, Google Suite, Google Docs, all that stuff. It might be to create some formulas to pull data faster, to query this and that. I'll do a lot of scripts that I'll run. So we'll automate a process that maybe before it took some hands to do it, and it went through a lot of steps, went through a lot of people, and somebody had to check off a lot of stuff and read through a lot of stuff. Last year we talked about that. Some that I had saved several months on a project for somebody. So for several people, actually, it wasn't just one person. But so now I've extended that into other tasks. So it really goes to part of what we're trying to digitize a lot more of our processes.
Totally.
And I could give you some specific examples, but which we can get to. But I think the main thing that I've told people what it does is it eliminates the mundane tasks that we have.
Bingo.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think what it does, it ends up, I've said that we always spend so much time entering data and not enough time analyzing it. And so we're trying to eliminate those mundane things so that we can spend more time on more complex projects.
Yes.
Instead of just trying to read through and decipher things ourselves.
And I think that's huge because, and Roop, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. We actually had our executive offsite 2 days ago, and you talk about mundane projects. You talk about these, getting rid of the mundane, which are still important things, but they're created efficiencies, and you get to focus on big picture, complex projects. We had this whole conversation on thinkers versus doers, right? Like Trent, you now, and you have to do things, yes, but it frees up time for you to think about your business. I mean, and I think of everything that you do in your day-to-day and in the sense of all things digital marketing and growing your company and the vision of your company, and you now get to focus on those because of what you've created. One thing that I've been particularly impressed with, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, but whether it's a real-world example or the time that you take to do this, talk about prompts and scripts, because you have created some pretty impressive, and you showed me a glimpse.
And you were really good at these before AI.
Yes.
So I can't imagine how much AI has elevated your game.
Well, the great thing is you don't have to be a programmer so much as you just have to see that there's a problem and you want to fix it.
Yes.
And I think that's maybe I think a lot of people are scared that, what do I know about this stuff? I don't have any education on this. Well, I don't either when it comes to the coding part of it. But I know, and I've learned how to write really good prompts in, say, ChatGPT. That's been my favorite one right now, my go-to, that loads things quickly for me. But I find that the reason I do these is because a lot of employees, you get somebody who's done something the same way for a long time, they're willing to do it, but you get a younger employee who comes to learn that job to maybe eventually replace them, and they aren't willing to do that kind of work. It might be, too, because your office your staff isn't very large. You don't have a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so you can really blow up the size of your workforce, so to speak, through using some of these automations. So some of the things that I've done, we're doing a lot. Okay, so part of why I've done it too is we have a legacy system for how we handle our data internally. If you want to call it our mainframe or whatever, it's a system that really doesn't have any going back and forth syncing. So we've had to learn to pull that data out, and we'll pull it out in CSVs. Just as long as you can export data out of it.
Yep.
So then we'll run it in some spreadsheets and some other things, but then, because we have so much data we're looking at, we needed ways to audit it because we might overlook something. And so, we have a dealer locator on our website that flows through HubSpot, and then you've helped us work on. So I created a script that monitors that and it checks a list and determines who's missing from that list. Or if we've maybe deactivated or activated a dealer, but we've missed a step in it, it tells us, hey, you didn't assign some sort of a tag to indicate that they're should be on the site.
You've got AI doing is it real-time auditing for you?
It did. So AI helped me write the script and then I'm using a Google script, and I say it's a trigger. So it monitors every 6 hours instead of maybe like on an edit or something.
Real time, and it's really
essentially
incredible.
real time. Yeah.
That's awesome. The data you guys have is pretty incredible. So we've looked to move some of that into HubSpot and how we want to use it. We had a pretty big AI project this summer where you guys had tons of data, and it was really old data from before we would have known. Let's put first name in one column and last name in another column, and let's separate company as a third column. And that would have been, I think it was thousands and thousands and thousands of records. And that data came over, and we all looked at it and thought, how are we going to take a single column for first name, last name, company, all in one column, and split that out in a way it's useful inside a CRM like HubSpot? And I think it was Chris actually here who jumped in, and he's kind of our script jockey here. And he said, I think I can write some stuff to kind of separate it, but I need some way of determining what's a company and what's a person. So we threw all that stuff at AI and said, take a shot at it. And it came back, and I think it didn't know on like 3 out of, I want to say 7,000.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
And clean that data. I mean, it was incredible. So like, I totally get what you're saying about the mundane, because I stared at that list and thought, man, who am I going to get to do that here?
And it's not just that, but the alternate to that is if you go and do some major change in your system, like if we were to go separate first, and we made this decision years ago, and it didn't matter then. If we would have gone to do that now and separated first and last name, that would have been something that could have affected so many things downstream that it was a mess, and we would still be investigating it to determine if that would make sense or not. So yes, you took that other way and have solved it. So going the back end way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about your dealer example, Trent, is the efficiencies there, and then looking at, you showed me one time a couple of months ago, I was in Trent's office up in Kansas, and you're getting these real-time reports because of the scripts that you provided. And you're like, yep, this report comes in at 4:30 p.m. every day. Like, it's unbelievable sales data that he's getting access to that you might would have had to have manually pulled for a couple of hours and done X, Y, and Z through 3 different spreadsheets or 3 different data sources. And you're like, nope, bam, boom, it comes right here, and here it is. Like, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So just so you know, people aren't doing that. It's early. You're ahead of the game. But like that right there is just incredible. And it takes time.
It takes time. So there's another project I'm doing where I have to pull some data out of another website of an admin of ours, and I import it into this sheet. And naturally, it comes with the top 4 lines come with headers and garbled stuff that I don't want in here. So I wrote a little script that says when I import it, it automatically removes the first 4 lines. So it just saves time there.
Yes.
There's another one. We're doing some things with. I'll get into this. So we've got a gear website, grasshoppergear.com.
Yep.
And that's on a Shopify platform. So we have the inventory that we say that we tell Shopify is there, and then we have our internal system of inventory. And we wanted to make sure they were in sync because they cannot talk to each other. Again, coming back to our system being legacy, and that's just not possible. So I wrote a script that when I import from our system and import from Shopify, it monitors those and it sends an email to a colleague and me every Wednesday morning of all of the things that are either low inventory and no inventory, and where the inventory on Shopify doesn't match our system. And so what we need to go back and take an inventory and get those in sync.
Wow. I mean,
So it's little things like that. But again, I just said to ChatGPT, I need to write something. And at first it came back, I said, I want it to be emailed to me. So that was the first step. And it came in as the data I needed, but you couldn't tell the difference between one, say, cell and the next. It was just all garbled together. So then I went back to chat and said, give it to me in an HTML table format. So then it generated that. So it comes into an email where I can actually read it. And I said, give me headers above each section that I have so that I can
more digestible.
Decipher it and search through it a lot easier.
Oh, that is amazing. So, okay, it took time to do this. You've got this now in a great system. You've got great information and great data coming.
It took time, but it saves a lot more time.
And a perfect segue. You now have the time and the wherewithal and the energy to focus on bigger picture items. So you don't need to put an exact number, but ballpark, Trent. I mean, how much more time do you have in your week to now take those mundane tasks and just think on behalf of marketing and sales and the vision of your company?
So I'm doing a lot of this for other people, so it wouldn't be just for me. I'm helping some others. But I'd say all told, you could argue we've saved a day, easily 8-hour workday, if not maybe a 24 hours, maybe a full day cycle of time we've saved.
It's
I
very in
could-
line with our conversation earlier this
I
week.
could argue that.
That right there, 4 years ago, was kind of a crazy concept, right? I mean, AI was still a thing 4 years ago, but for you to now have 8 hours, 24 hours, whatever it is, but a day to better think through situations that require really deep thinking and thought from you and others on your team is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Trent, I have used it the way I'm about to describe, so I'm curious if the more you kind of play with it and kind of, have some, I'll call it low-hanging fruit. You have a job and a task and you have some vague understanding of what you need to do, and there's maybe, 8 of the 10 steps, and AI kind of helps you with the rest. How often do you go to it? Because I do this a lot, and I'm like, AI, I don't even know where to start. Can you tell me, outline a plan for me first? It does. And then say, hey, let's talk about steps 1 through 2. Help me execute those. Do you ever just start with something that you're like, this is so out of my wheelhouse, I have no business even doing?
Absolutely. It took me down a path with doing, I think, something with Python coding
Yes,
or
same.
something where I said, okay, now I got to get a book, or I've got to hire somebody else,
Right.
or do some training for it. I said, I don't even know how to do that, or how do I
barely
get
know how
into
to even ask the questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do I get into BigQuery or database, this
Yeah.
sort of thing? I have no idea. But at least it gives you that direction to now go search that out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes it where you feel pretty confident. Once you can you get a couple of under your belt, it really opens it up.
I think this is an important thing, especially for our listeners, because there's a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of clients that we interact with that aren't doing this. So, Roop, I think that's a wonderful example. But Trent, just tips or tricks or advice for our listeners, and where do they even start? Are they identifying a problem or a challenge and then they're working through it?
Yeah, that's right. And I think start with something that you might identify and that you're trying to help for somebody else, and get them on board. Get them now to be your champion on your side. And I'll give you a good example. So again, because we've been around manufacturing since 1958, and we've been making Grasshopper Mowers since about late 60s, we've been working with dealers for a long time, and we've been trying to set up dealers for a long time. So we'd have these new dealer profiles where we want to give us some background, so we know who we're working with here, or who we might be working with. And of course, it started on paper, and the rep would fill that out and mail it in, and then they'd fax it in. And then it might be a photograph that they'd email in. But then we said, okay, I'll give you the Word doc and a template. You fill it out and send that back. Well, that doesn't always work so well. So I took just a simple Google form, nothing fancy. It's sort of like a monkey, survey monkey or something like that, but like a Google form. My problem was that the form is so long that a rep may not finish it in one sitting, and they may want to save it. Well, how do you save a Google form? Well, you can. But how do you then notify the office when it's done? So this is a recent one I just did, and the reason I'm telling you about this is because I've got a champion now who sees a value in it. Somebody I built this for. So I have a toggle in there that says complete or not complete, like send to the office or not ready to send to the office. And when they go back in there and change the status, that's when it then shares it with the person in the office who needs to see it. But see, here's the problem. Google Forms will log to a Google Sheet. Well, that wasn't very friendly. They said, I've got to go across and read all these cells. I don't want to sit and read these to try to analyze if this is a good fit to work with us. So using AI, I said, hey, I need it to output onto a email that they will get that's in an HTML table format that's readable. But I also want it as a backup, as a Google Doc, so they can read it and save it as a PDF and read it that way.
That's incredible.
So anytime one gets submitted by a sales rep, it gets outputted and emailed to that person.
So when your coworker that is now a champion of this, they just holy smokes, this
is amazing. This is amazing, because also that makes the reps more likely to fill one of these out and not either complain or just not drag their feet or just not fill everything out. And here's the thing with a paper form, you can skip fields. When it's a digital form, you can make them all required.
I love that when you were starting this story,
Good.
the history of this particular project went all the way back to someone sent a fax in, which was probably a big technological advancement at the time.
It sure
right?
was.
When you have champions like this and people that you've kind of won over through a project, do you find that the infection spreads a little bit? And they're like, well, hey, can I get into an account, or how do I do that? And show me how you did that. Can I start using AI here?
Now can we do this? Now could you have this project? Yeah. Now could you make the toaster put jelly on there for me in the break room?
I'm going to ask.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
I'm going to ask.
It might come to that.
That is awesome.
But yes, it opens their mind to, hey, there's all kinds of possibilities we could do here. This is really exciting. This will save me lots of time. So now I can actually, again, analyze the data and actually make real decisions rather than just having to gather it all and put it together.
And And then we look at this. So this is great because for those that are listening that are not doing this, right? Here's great advice. And you're like, okay, like great. I'm creating efficiencies. I'm solving more complex problems. But what does this mean in the sense of driving sales or our actual customers? And I think, Claude, this is probably a good segue into our second topic. Awesome, you were on it today. Customer experience in B2B, and Trent, how you are meeting your customers' expectations. And I'm not just talking through AI, but just customer experience. AI might be a part of that, but walk us through, because so much. I mean, what I love about this is the third annual time that Trent's been here, and so much changes every year.
I think in the first annual, I was telling you about a website we had coming. It's finally live. It took a while, and I think part of the reasons it took a while was because, again, working with some of that legacy data, we had to get how could we get it out of our system? How could we get it out of the system we were replacing? I'll explain that in a minute. How could we do all of those things? And that took a little bit to understand and get them to speak together and get a free flow of syncing together. So let me explain. Yeah. We've got grasshopperparts.com, which eventually will be a public-facing site, for end users. Right now, it's just for our dealers. It's set to replace our quick parts lookup software. Yep. It was great. It served us for 25 years. But it was Windows only, and you had to download an update every month. And if the pricing changed and you were busy at the counter at your dealership and didn't download it, your pricing wasn't going to be in sync.
Gotcha.
And other things. I think it's just limiting us. Well, also you can't use it on a smartphone. You can't use it on a Mac, anything, because it was Windows only. So, of course, the natural thing makes sense. Let's have a website. And so we worked with a company that allowed us to bring all of those drawings, our schematics, our parts, our parts explosions, our parts breakdowns over and display those. And so that time took to be able to get all that data over and have the little hotspots line up, coordinates and all that. So we got that. But what was amazing along the way, and there's so much, I think I want to touch on this for quite a bit. This is a major thing. But along the way, what we learned was from our legacy system that I mentioned earlier, we learned how to sync data out of it that automatically went to it that we had never had a need to do before. So it sort of made us go, I don't want to say out of our comfort zone, but it made us find some solutions that we had never done before.
Wow.
And so talk about people are opening their eyes and going, can we have it do this and this now? Yes, it's starting in the office. People are starting to go, not on the AI side of it, but can we have our system have some sort of a FTP sort of a sync going on that we just had never really put our minds to before. So that's been an exciting development there.
That's cool.
But as far as talking about B2B e-commerce, you need to meet your customers where they are. And so have an improved website for our dealers to look up their parts. Once we get them all onboarded, we'll start in opening it up to end user customers. It's just so exciting for me. We are then going to add a third party who comes in, and so this is the beauty about B2B e-commerce. When you have a solution, you go headless. And what that means is your solution can bolt on, basically has a simple system, and you can bolt on other solutions to it. So we're working with a party right now that they're just waiting for us to get through onboarding our dealers, and then they'll come on, and we're just going to start developing the hover cart solutions, what they call it, where we'll be able to, an order will come in, and it will look and go, okay, so their zip code is here. Well, the nearest dealer is here, so we're going to route it to them for fulfillment, and we'll handle all the taxes and all that stuff. So we'll then send the funds to the dealer, so they can, they've get the credit from the sale,
no, for sure.
And then they can file their taxes in their state. And so it's all handled by somebody else, and we're adding all of these different solutions, but we're not adding employees at the same rate. And so, but don't need to, because there's solutions off the shelf, these third-party solutions that will do all these calculations for you. Who are we to be experts at certain things? Let's let the experts come in and be involved in what we're doing.
Well, and I you bring up a huge point, right? You're meeting the customers where they are. E-commerce is a huge component, yet you're not cutting out the dealer. Like there's still a pivotal role in that sales cycle process. I mean, kudos to you all.
I'm also blown away. I've been blown away by this for a while. I'm not going to say on air, but I know how old that data is, some of it, and the systems it's in, and the ability to kind of take it and do these things and not be afraid to move forward with it now. It's almost like you almost couldn't have done this until recently, and now it's happening in a really you're jumping multiple generations to get like kind of current in a way with it that's useful and helpful. And it's pretty awesome. I know how data works, and I'm like, that's pretty neat.
So that speaks to what you're talking about. What all this is really part of a unified e-commerce solution that we're trying to go to.
Yes.
And this company that we work with offers part of the solution. So it's sort of that feel where I had that experience. Maybe I talked to you at a trade show, and then I bought the mower, and then I needed parts, and I went to the dealer and dealt with them for the sale, but also for the service and for the parts. But then for some reason I went on your website to look for something. We're trying to, that experience needs to be the same everywhere.
Yes.
And especially in B2B.
Yes.
I mean, so we're talking B2C on some of this,
course.
but I think one thing that B2B marketers don't do a good job of is make that experience easy for their customers. And that could be government customers or B2B, business customers. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's, again, I think it's handling their data and they don't know a way to beautify that data and they don't think it's important. But Andy Hoare, who's a friend of mine who does Master B2B with Brian Beck, he said that years ago, about
They're
2015
fantastic.
or so. He said that you have to make the solution just the same for anybody that they want that same experience. They want that Amazon easy checkout experience.
Boom, boom, boom.
That they have, for Amazon as they do for their job. They want that in their job like they do at home.
See, I feel like we need that quote on a wall because and it's crazy. A lot of people lose sight of that, right? We as consumers, I mean, we go after this podcast, within a click of a button, I can get, if I need dish soap, right, delivered to my door, maybe within a couple of hours, if not, probably tomorrow. And people in the B2B space lose sight of that.
It's all
or B2B. No, B2B now is very, I mean, B2C and B2B are very, they're just getting so much closer from this. And Trent, your comment here, and I love this, unified commerce, that is a very, very, very good term. Everyone, I feel like the last couple of years, Roop, and you know this, of course, and everyone does, omni-channel experience, same experience from mobile to whatever. No, unified commerce, that's it. As we've been working through this script, one of my favorite things as you put together your thoughts here is unified commerce. So walk us through that. You've mentioned it already, but
trying to have the same experience everywhere, and so that's why we're working with this third party that's having this bolt-on solution that's going to go on grasshopperparts.com, where the customer can shop on our website, but then go pick up the parts at their dealership because you want to create the same experience.
Dude, yes.
Anywhere. So the other thing is, of course, people shop any time of day, night, weekend, whatever. But we want that same experience online as it is in the store. So it's that theory of having unified commerce because and you're also trying to help them so they go into the store and nobody ever says, sorry, it's out of stock. And I saw something written somewhere, and I just want to read this real quick. It said, seamless experiences make the customer feel like they're the star of the show no matter where they shop. And I thought that was one line to hang on to.
So what I love about the idea, and Roop, I'd love your thoughts here. So unified commerce, it's so simple, but it's so good. And I feel like not only B2B brands, but just marketers in general over the last 5 years have gotten obsessed with this idea of an omni-channel experience, which is important. This is much more important, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Trent, this is very good.
I think a lot of times B2B and B2C allows their own limitations to get in the way of a good user experience. So they're always kind of starting from, well, what can I do, or how do I want my customer to do something, right? Which, and if you're looking for conversion on a website, great. But if you're trying to just have an experience and make it as seamless as possible, and not make it feel like, oh man, I got to order this part, and it's just going to be this whole thing, and I'm going to put it off until tomorrow, and I don't want to deal with it. And you go through it, and we talked about this last week, that even just on a B2C, my wife trying to buy something for me, and she couldn't get on mobile, get the thing to work, and I'm probably not getting that Christmas present now.
That's in a B2C example,
right. Those things are true across all humans, whether you're B2B or B2C. And I'm kind of starting to wonder if we're, inside the next few years, these walls, like these labels, kind of going away in some areas. Like, this is your customer. It doesn't matter which one it is, it's your customer. And you want to give them the same experience and give them the same opportunity to experience your brand, whether they're B2B or B2C.
So that's a great segue. That's why we went on to Amazon about 4 years ago. It was to protect the brand and have a great branding. I didn't necessarily realize that. I didn't put it together till I think about it later.
Wow.
But it was really to protect the brand. There's ill-fitting parts out there. There's people who maybe use your copyright and try to sell something saying it fits your machine and fitment, which we talked about a lot last year,
Yeah.
is still a very big deal. And I find that the most ill-fitting, the returns that come back to us on Amazon are related to people trying to put our stuff on their other brand.
Yes. Protect the brand.
So protect the brand. That was the main reason we joined on Amazon, and it has worked. So Amazon has a thing, and this is if you're a B2B company and you're thinking about being on Amazon, even just add a few parts and look at brand registry, where you take over your brand. You register with Amazon and prove that you own your trademarks and all that.
Yeah.
And you take over, you control your brand, and you have the opportunity to try to shut down people who are selling something in your name that's not yours or whatever.
Yes.
So I'm doing that, and I have a service that we work with, sort of like another set of employees who help us manage our Amazon listings and our photos and our ad campaign on there and everything that we do. And they specialize in doing that for Amazon. And so they monitor any competitors that are on there who maybe shouldn't be, and I review that list and say, okay, that's okay. They're maybe a dealer and they're whatever. But if I don't recognize them, they're going to get a letter. Because I'm trying to protect that experience.
Does AI write the letter?
No.
No.
No, I think it's a letter I wrote a few years ago, but the concept, there's certain legal things in there that never expire, that the concepts that make sense why you go after these guys. And you might say that it's a warranty issue because you can't provide warranty, that you're using our trademark, and there's some different things. It has helped shut down some things, because I think the issue is if you let all these people get on there, it's a race to the bottom, because to get that buy box on Amazon, you lower the price a penny or two, and then now you show as the person and most people who shop Amazon don't pay attention to where this is shipping from, or I think they think everything comes from an Amazon warehouse.
Up in the sky.
Oh, I think you're absolutely
That's right.
You're absolutely right.
All of everything we ship out, or everything that Grasshopper sells, comes from our warehouse. We don't ship anything to an Amazon warehouse. We did some for a little bit, but found that was just a logistical mess. So everything that you buy from Grasshopper comes from us. But people don't pay attention to where it ships from, so they think it's from Amazon.
From Amazon, yeah, absolutely.
But watching that has helped us knock out some of those competitors. I also have a service that I subscribe to that monitors Amazon, Walmart.com, which is a mess. Because I've read anywhere from 50 to 90% of the things listed on Walmart.com are third-party people, not even Walmart inventory. So they're a marketplace just like Amazon.
Yeah. Can I tell you real quick? I sat next to the two guys that started Walmart.com in like 95, 96. I worked for Walmart marketing. Those two sit next to me. They worked night and day, nonstop. The internet was young. And I think they're probably billionaires now from stock options and promotions. They're in California somewhere. So I always think about that website started without any kind of e-commerce at all. It was just, here's the things you can come into the store to get, and how it's evolved now to where it's at is kind of wild. And then Amazon jumped them.
They're doing a lot they're doing good about checking inventory at stores and maybe seeing where it is and what aisle and all that stuff. I'd love for somebody there at Walmart to give me a call, and maybe because these guys are off at the beach now.
Let me see if I can find them. Yeah.
Because they've been really hard to get a hold of.
Probably out of country.
Interesting. Yeah.
I tried to shut down there'd be some rogue sellers, maybe somebody from China who would take our listing, scrape it from Amazon, relist it on Walmart, and then they get the sale, and then they turn around and place it on Amazon with us and make a few bucks. Then what they would do is say that they never got the item, and then get a refund, and everybody's happy. We've sold the product and got our money. The end user person got their product, and this person got their refund. And the reason we are happy is because Amazon would, even though we'd prove that it was shipped okay, Amazon would still give the money back to the buyer, but they protected us. So we never had to pay it. So it was just this ring going on,
and the circle.
And there's some people who have amassed hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraud, not on our stuff, but on other stuff that Amazon has shut down. But they didn't take the time to shut our stuff down. So this was all through Walmart.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know I'm going down a rabbit hole here.
No, that's interesting.
So nobody at Walmart would pay attention. So I tried to register my brand with Walmart, and they said that I wasn't the brand owner. So I found a third party that
You're
watches.
literally the brand owner.
Right. So I found a third party. This is what I'm trying to get to. I found a third party that manages, that looks over Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba, AliExpress, and just websites, and will report to you all of these copyright infringers or fraudsters or whatever. There's different categories, and you basically say, "Yep, that's illegitimate. So is that one. So is that one." Click, send, enforce. and they get an email that says,
Oh my gosh.
that says you've been taken down and you
Yeah.
need to prove why you should be able to sell this
Thank God
stuff.
for that. Oh my gosh.
So that has helped a lot too.
So this idea of protecting the brand, you've got a great line here. You deserve to read it because you put it together. But would you read that out loud for our listeners?
The brands who are winning today are those that see technology not as a cost, but as an opportunity to be agile,
And
responsive, and customer friendly.
And I think right there, and you talk about protecting your brand, you talk about meeting customers in a digital first world, you talk about everything that you're doing in the world of AI, and that right there is, you got to see the forest through the trees, and there's a lot of brands that aren't.
Yeah.
And you look at the rate of adoption of technology since COVID, and you look at the rate of adoption of AI in the last 18 months, and it's a scary thought, because kudos to you for driving this for your brand. How many year old brand now? You got
65?
65 years. And you see the big picture and you see the vision. And for our listeners and for people that aren't listening, this is a big deal. And if you don't see this as a major investment and a major focus in the next 24 months, it's going to be a paddling up a creek without a paddle.
From fax machines to
Seriously.
Amazon.com, you have to reimagine it. You have to evolve, and it's impressive.
As we kind of wrap our thoughts, get into just kind of next steps, closing. Any other things? I always like, this is our third annual, I always love a good Trent prediction because they're pretty damn good and they're pretty on the money. And so I don't know if you have any thoughts as when we're sitting here for our fourth annual next year, but just in the world of CX and AI, you want to put a thought or a bet out there?
Yeah, so I think logistics are the big one that at least that I want to target,
Okay.
and shore up warehouse management and how everything flows. I went to a logistics show, and there is a show dedicated
wow.
to shipping all this stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people who support Amazon and all those places, and I'm looking at the last mile people who, it's actually like Walmart delivery people, just like maybe a Grubhub or somebody like that, who will pick up the item from, say, one of our dealers and deliver. If they said, if there's a Walmart nearby within 50 miles, could go to your dealer, pick up that part, and go deliver it.
Yeah.
So that part is really interesting to me to get into.
That's smart, because the user experience, the meat and potatoes, the user experience happens up front when they make the order, and it happens at the end when it gets delivered. And at the end, at least right now, it's not AI or robots doing that; it's humans. Right. And you want happy, well-trained, good
We have
humans.
a long ways to go, I think, before that.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would say,
ask my delivery guy.
One thing I would say to people who are listening is, and I would direct you again to Brian Beck and Andy Hoare of Master B2B.
Yeah.
They put together a white paper called their Digital Maturity Assessment, and they go through and help you assess your company's digital maturity, like where you are in that scale of everything. And it's a self thing. You don't have to talk to them, and they give you, there's like 4 levels. I think we're somewhere around stage 3. Which is maybe intermediate. And they describe, maybe like for us, that says we're working towards broad swaths of the organization, understanding people contributing directly to the success of their company, that we have mostly modern tech systems operating in real time with first steps to AI enhancements. That's what we talked about. We have clean data that allows for wider distribution and increased customer engagement, and customers largely enjoy similar experiences across multiple channels. So I think those are all things. That's why I urge you to take a look at that. If you're a B2B manufacturer, is assess where you are in that, and maybe find those champions in your business or something. And look for me on LinkedIn, and I can help you get that assessment. Connect you with Brian and Andy. And
in this write-up, we'll tag Trent. Obviously,
we'll
if you follow us on LinkedIn, you'll get to see his profile. Give him a follow. This is really interesting, Trent, because obviously everyone in the room here is a marketer. Again, kudos to you, because there's marketing, and then there's the actual fact of operations and making it happen, and the fact that you're doubling down, you're thinking through the logistical aspect. You do a great job in AI. You do in the behind the scenes. You're meeting your B2B customer, B2C customer, where they are in the CX world, and then you're thinking of, in a world of I want it now. And where your head is amazing, because, like you said, Amazon, right? 2-day shipping. Now you can get it in 1 day. You buy a new Mac right now, I could pay $10 extra, and it's here at the agency within 2 hours. That is the world that we're living in. I think of all the furniture companies out there, right? No one wants to wait 6 weeks for a sofa anymore. They want it within a week. People have to work through that.
I want to go off my checklist and work down and get done and move on to the next next task in my life.
Exactly. And that is, it's just the way the world is going, the world is here, and it just will continue to move into that more, just very rapid pace. Roopster, any closing thoughts?
I would say, and that world is not limited exclusively for B2C. It's for all of us.
It's for all of us.
Yeah.
If we have something in our inventory and we want to sell it to somebody else, that's who it's for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. As always, it is great having you. It's great having you here at the agency. It's great having you here in Tulsa. It's great having you finally here in the studio. Grasshopper sign
Beautiful.
lit up and all.
Love it. Thank you.
Yes, please. So here's the cool thing. If you're not watching this video, you got Trent here. You've got a Trent towel. We've got Grasshopper mugs back here. Chelsea's a little pissed behind you, but I think she's just bummed she's not
down.
there. Trent and Roop and Sam, on behalf of the three of us, we'd like to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
A Happy
Merry
New
Christmas.
Year. And Trent, we can't wait. It'll be here before we know it, 4th annual.
That's right. And I got a sticker for your laptop. I didn't think that one was big enough. So.
And that is going right on my laptop. With that, we part. Merry Christmas. We will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media @Littlefield Agency.